Welcome everybody to Intensity Broadcasting. My name's Josh Hall. This is the Original Rebels Racing League Grand National Series Round of 8 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway on iRacing. Looking for a fantastic race today to start the round of 8. Let's take a look at the points coming into tonight. We see points have kind of been reset a little bit, going back to those bonus points. Eddie Smith at the top of the board. Mike Kosick sits back in second, 8 points back. Then Jonah Colbert, Jonathan Cofield, your top 4. Daniel Cunningham, Brandon Pollock, Jason Lotridge, and Andy Kurtz are your top 8. Now, Andy Kurtz and Matt Kleeman were tied. Actually, Andy Kurtz, Matt Kleeman, and Tyler Rice were all tied for that elusive 8th spot, but Andy Kurtz did win and lock himself into the next round, so that's why we see him in and those two out. But tonight starts a brand new round as we see at the top of the board, Jonathan Cofield, your quickest driver. See Garrett Kinder currently second quickest. And of course, we have new settings here on the broadcast tonight. So let me know how this looks here tonight. This is my first time streaming here in high def. So we're looking forward to a couple new things here tonight. Hopefully this looks good on my end because I can't tell, to be completely honest. But we got about 3 minutes left here in practice before we get qualifying underway. And Atlanta, tricky track. Let's take a look at the layout of the track. Quad oval, much like you see at Texas or at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This is the old Atlanta, though, not the reconfigured Atlanta. So these will be incredibly tough on the tires here tonight. Track temperature up there as well. Let's take a look at those temps that we're looking at right now. So 79-degree air temperature, 65% humidity, partly cloudy, 85-degree track temperature, but for these guys it's going to feel like 105 as they're going to be slip sliding all night long and trying to conserve those tires the best they can. See Tyler Rice out there currently. Oh, just caught the wall too. Andy Kurtz out on track. Getting the last driver to make his way in to the round of 8 here tonight. Brandon Pollock also one of the drivers in the round of 8 here. So you can see on the tower and on the ticker tonight, all drivers who are in the playoffs will be highlighted in blue. Of course, when they win a round or win a race and they're locked into the next round, we will see them highlighted in yellow. But since points have reset, that means everything is reset and we're going to start all over again. So about a minute left here in practice before we get qualifying underway. Again, we want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. First, don't forget to check out our great partners down below as well. Our web store, intensitybroadcasting.com. As well as Race EPI and the Butt Kicker. Of course, the great partners of the Grand National Series that make this possible. Including Kinder Farm and Ranch, Cofield Asphalt Refinishing, Dark Horse Motorsports, Chuck Pegleg Felts, JC Race Designs, and the Rebels Racing Network. We see Brandon Pollock making his way down onto pit road, getting some pitting practice in before we get qualifying underway. We'll see who one of our first drivers that hit the track are. It looks like it's going to be the 54 of Daniel Cunningham. And as always, we have the chat open. Let us know who you're rooting for here tonight. We'd love to hear from you here tonight. Cunningham makes his way down into turns 1 and 2. Run that higher line, trying to get that car wound up there on the high side. Andy Kurtz currently fastest on track here tonight. Jonah Colbert, Daniel Cunningham, Tyler Rice, and there's Steve McDonald up there. Charles Stevens up in 5th, so time's really starting to pick up. Oh, apologize for the glitch there on the screen as we get that back. And it looks like Cofield's going to currently be at the top of the leaderboard on his first lap. Let's see what he's able to do here on his second lap. And he's going to go faster on his second lap with a 30.25. It's 500ths faster than anybody else right now, but we do have a couple drivers left to qualify. We see Eddie Smith coming down the backstretch right now. Eddie currently in the 9th position on his first lap. See if he's able to pick it up on his second lap. Hey, Smith's going to run a 30.28, puts him up into second. Brandon Pollock now making his way around the track through turns 1 and 2. And down across the line, he's going to be good enough for 10th. Garrett Kinder just took the green flag. He's coming down the backstretch on his first of 2 laps. Kinder currently holding that car wide open. Across the line, it's going to put him up into the 12th position on his first lap. We got about 35 seconds left before qualifying ends here. We have all their rest of the drivers making their attempts right now. Kinder on his second lap, he's going to jump up to the 6th position. Jason Lottridge just went 12th. And Matt Kleeman, last driver to qualify, his first lap is going to put him up in the 13th. With about 18 seconds left, hope see if he's got enough time to get around for his second lap. It's going to be awfully close if he can get this qualifying lap in. As time runs out on the timer, does he have enough time to get to the line? No, he does not. So let's take a look at our starting grid. And your peg leg pole winner tonight is the 58 of Jonathan Cofield. Eddie Smith's going to start second. Andy Kurtz in third, and Jonah Colbert in fourth. Fifth will be Steve McDonald with Mike Kosick in the... Fifth will be Daniel Cunningham with Garrett Kinder in the sixth position. Then Steve McDonald and Mike Kosick back in row number 4. Charles Stevens Jr. and Tyler Rice round out your top 10. Brandon Pollock will start from 11th with Jason Lottridge in 12th. 13th, it will be Matt Kleeman with Mickey Isaac 14th. Brandon Wallace 15th. And Kyle Roberts rounding out the field in the 16th position. As we get ready for 100 laps around this tricky Atlanta Speedway for the first race of the round of 8. Looking at our schedule for the next couple weeks. We've got Atlanta tonight, Richmond next week, Darlington on the 18th, and then quite a bit of a break. We will have our final race on December 2nd. So taking a week off for the Thanksgiving holiday. Kevin Kinder says, hello, Mr. Hall. Hello, Kevin. Good to see you. Trying something new here tonight. Let us know how the stream looks. We do have, this is my first time trying to broadcast in high definition, 1080p. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the button to upscale to 1080p. I want to make sure this looks as good as it can for you guys. But pace car is getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn. And we're getting ready for 100 laps here around Atlanta Motor Speedway. Pace car dips down on the pit road. Green flag is in the air. We are racing here at Atlanta, and Jonathan Cofield trying to get a good run down into turn number 1. Eddie Smith there on the high side. Andy Kurtz right there in the mix as well as they come through turns 1 and 2 for the first time. Smith going to lose a few positions up on that high side as they come down the backstretch for the first time. Smith's going to have to tuck into that third position. Andy Kurtz already trying to make some moves up there on the high side. As they come across the line for the first time, Jonathan Cofield will lead your first lap. Mike Kosick working the high side of Garrett Kinder. Charles Stevens Jr. right behind. Daniel Cunningham right in front. Oh, Charles Stevens Jr. got really loose there off of turn number 2. He's able to hold on to it, but he's going to lose a ton of positions. You see Jason Lottridge and Brandon Pollock almost go 3 wide. They backed out of it wisely. And now Pollock's looking down to the inside of Charles Stevens Jr. just in front. Daniel Cunningham taking a look, or getting attacked right now by the 8 of Mike Kosick. And right behind him, Garrett Kinder trying to follow him on through. Oh, we got one around to the back. Steve McDonald into the inside wall. Brandon Pollock down as well. No caution. We stay green. But heavy impact with the wall to the 68 of Steve McDonald. As now Andy Kurtz is trying to take the lead away from Jonathan Cofield. McDonald still down on the apron trying to get that car refired. You see him down to the inside off the track. As Kurtz continues to try to take the lead away from Cofield, and Eddie Smith right here in the mix as well. Kurtz looking up to the high side. Take a look off the back bumper of Jonathan Cofield at the 5 of Andy Kurtz. Right now, Cofield able to hold on. Kosick working down to the inside of Tyler Rice as they come off of turn number 2. Kosick's going to have to tuck back in line as the field gets pretty much single file into turn number 3. Now, Kurtz looking up to the high side again at Cofield, trying to take that position away, but just not close enough to make anything happen. Doesn't mean he's not going to try to fight up there on that high side. Kurtz with the run up on the high side. He's going to take over the lead from Cofield as they go down to turn number 3. And here comes Eddie Smith up on the high side as well. He's going to try to take over that 3rd position. And Garrett Kinder already up into the 4th position as he's looking to the outside of Cofield. And in front, Eddie Smith now looking down to the low side of Andy Kurtz. Smith not quite close enough to make that move happen. Let's see what happened here to the 68 of Steve McDonald. Coming off of turn number 2. Oh, he just got a little tight. Got run over from behind, and then we see Brandon Pollock get into the back with just nowheres to go. So still Andy Kurtz out in front. Eddie Smith, though, still trying to take a look down to the inside, trying to take over that 2nd position. Sorry, try to take over that top spot as he runs in 2nd position, but Garrett Kinder right there behind trying to take over that 2nd position. And Mike Kosick working his way up around Jonah Colbert and trying to latch onto the back bumper of Tyler Rice. Smith now take a look down to the inside of Kurtz. He's got the position going down into turns 1 and 2. He's down on the low side. Kurtz up on the high side. We've seen that high side, though, show some strength here in these early runs. Big wiggle out of the 87. That's going to allow Garrett Kinder to get right around the 87 and move Kinder up into the 2nd place. Garrett Kinder, the reason I need a dump button here on Intensity Broadcasting, now moves his way up into the 2nd position as Eddie Smith and Tyler Rice battle side by side for 3rd. Now Smith back to the bottom, trying to get a run here underneath Garrett Kinder. Kinder rim riding up there up on the high side. Oh, big wiggle out of Tyler Rice. Almost comes down into Kosick. Able to hold on to it, though. What a save for the driver of the 6. That didn't look that big, but I can tell you from inside the driver's seat, that was a huge wiggle out of that 6 machine. And as I mentioned earlier, this track is going to get slicker and slicker as the tires wear out and the track heats up. Jonah Colbert now looking up to the high side of Kosick, trying to take over that 5th position. Right behind, we take a look from Daniel Cunningham, who's got a great view of this right out in front of him. Andy Kurtz continues to hold off Eddie Smith, but here goes Smith again. I'm sorry, he held off Garrett Kinder, but here comes Kinder again down to the low side And Kinder's going to pull alongside Andy Kurtz, trying to take over that top spot. Eddie Smith right behind, trying to lend a hand to the 13 of Kinder. Then he goes back up to the high side with Andy Kurtz as they continue to race side by side through turns 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. Running that high side does have its advantages because Kurtz doesn't have to turn the wheel quite as much. He's not going to burn off as much tire. He knows that he's running that high side, so it allows him to really open up the wheel off the corner, not have to pinch himself down. So where Garrett Kinder working that low side doesn't have all those options. And now we see Eddie Smith looking down to the inside of Garrett Kinder. Right behind, we see Jonathan Cofield making his way back up through the field, back up into the 5th position after falling back. Now he's starting to work his way back up towards the front. He's got Mike Kosick right there behind him as well, as here comes Cofield looking down underneath Colbert. Jonah, though, trying to hold tight up on that high side. Does the stream title still say test? I thought I changed that. I guess I will take a look at that again, and I do apologize for that. As Eddie Smith has now worked himself up to the lead. Take a look at how the pass for the lead happened as we see Eddie Smith down underneath. Getting around Garrett Kinder and then just drives it in underneath Andy Kurtz to take over that top spot. Right there on the back bumper, makes the move and right down underneath. Take that position away. So Eddie Smith out in front over Andy Kurtz. And yeah, I just double checked there, Alex. Everything says what it's supposed to on my end, so it's weird that it didn't update. Now Garrett Kinder trying to take a look down underneath Andy Kurtz. Kinder just not close enough to make that. All right, sorry, Kurtz not close enough to make that move on Kinder. Now Cofield trying to work on the back bumper of Andy Kurtz. Cofield down underneath Kurtz. See Kosick right there as well, as the field starting to stretch out just a little bit. You see Eddie Smith out in clean air. It'll start to pull away just a little bit, him and Kinder. As our first drivers hit pit road. Mickey Isaac down on pit road. Oh, it looks like he's going to reset. I'm not sure what happened to Isaac there, but it looks like he might have caught the wall a little bit and finds himself down on pit road. As Eddie Smith has Garrett Kinder right there on the back bumper. Kinder can get the pull down the backstretch, but when you're in line like this, you're trying to get out of line just a little bit to get enough nose on the, or air on the nose to help that car turn. Now Cofield making some moves down on that low side. So Cofield, who led us to the green flag, fell back quite a bit at the beginning of the run, now finds himself battling with Andy Kurtz for the third position. Mike Kosick right here in this mix as well. And then it's all the way 2 seconds back to Jason Lottridge, Daniel Cunningham, Jonah Colbert, Tyler Rice, all battling back here way off the pack. As now Kosick takes a look down underneath Andy Kurtz to try to take that third position. We're about 20 laps away from halfway. Oh, Kosick checks up quite a bit there. Now he's got Cofield looking back up to the high side. It looks like Mickey Isaac has retired from the race. Steve McDonald also 3 laps down currently. The field is now starting to string out, run single file as the tires are really starting to wear off on these cars. And green flag pit stop should be starting up momentarily. Great views from up above in the iRacing blimp. And while we've got a little break in the action, as always, we want to thank all of our great partners that make this possible, including Kinder Farm and Ranch, Cofield Asphalt Refinishing, Dark Horse Motorsports, Chuck Pegleg Felts, JC Race Graphics. As Cofield takes a look down to the inside of Kurtz, as well as the Rebels Racing Network, all making this league possible for us to put this show on for you each and every week. Of course, we want to thank our great partners as well, including Race EPI and our web store over at intensitybroadcasting.com. And of course, the Butt Kicker, which is established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products allows users to feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC, console, and professional sim racers. The patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is the new and improved haptic that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. To check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out which one's right for you, visit thebuttkicker.com. As Mike Kosick now taking a look again down and underneath Andy Kurtz, but Kurtz just able to use that high lane to stay out in front of the 8 just enough. As Eddie Smith continues the lead by about 0.3 of a second over second place, Garrett Kinder. Kinder, though, up 4 spots from where he started, up into the second position. Trying to save his tires here to make sure that he is there at the end of the run. Andy Kurtz continues to use that high lane. Keep himself out in front of Mike Kosick, who's up 4 spots into the 4th position himself. The 8 machine now has a battle to the outside from Jonathan Cofield. Now, Cofield started on pole. I see that. Oh, he's up into the wall. Started on pole, trying to get himself back up to the front. Another one of our playoff drivers. Speaking of playoff drivers, Jason Lotridge back in the 6th position. He is currently 4 seconds off of Jonathan Cofield, but trying to have a great run here to move on to the Championship 4 in 3 weeks. Jonah Colbert runs back in the 7th position. Started 4th. He's fallen back just a bit. Then you got to go all the way 4.5 seconds back to find the 6 of Tyler Rice, who was eliminated in the playoffs due to the tiebreaker with Andy Kurtz going to Kurtz with the win. Charles Stevens Jr. runs back in the 9th position. That's where he started. Hoping for a caution to get himself back up into the mix here. And Brandon Wallace back in the 10th position. Up 5 spots from where he started, but hoping for a caution here so he can get himself back into the mix as well. Wallace, another one of our playoff contenders. Kyle Roberts runs back in the 11th position. And then Matt Kleeman started 13th, currently runs in 12th. Brandon Pollock, who we saw involved in that early incident, a lot of damage to the right side of his car, currently runs back in the 13th position. In danger of going a lap down soon. And then Daniel Cunningham back in the 14th position. And he is 1 lap down. And Steve McDonald and Mickey Isaac both on pit road. It looks like their days are pretty much over. But back up front, Eddie Smith now starting to pull away from Garrett Kinder. He's got a 0.5 second lead over that 13 machine. As Jonah Colbert now has run down Jason Lotridge, and he's trying to take over that 6th position. As we are just a handful of laps away from halfway. Kurtz and Kosick going back at it again. We see the 54 of Daniel Cunningham right there as well. And you see fresh tires on Daniel Cunningham's machine. He was just in on lap number 33, so about 10 laps ago, and you're seeing what 10 lap fresher tires can do. As Tyler Rice now making his way down on the pit road. Actually, I take that back. He's making his way off of pit road. And there goes Cunningham by to unlap himself. That's going to put just one car down on off a lap, and that is the 6 of Tyler Rice. As Jonathan Cofield continues to work on Mike Kosick and Andy Kurtz, and now Kosick looking back down to the inside of Kurtz. Kyle Roberts making his way down onto pit road. Kosick just not quite able to make this pass stick, as Kurtz is able to drive off on the high side so easily. Kevin Kinder says some nice racing so far, and it has been very clean and respectable for these drivers here tonight. As now Eddie Smith and Garrett Kinder both make their way down onto pit road. And that's going to give the lead over to Mike Kosick, who finally has gotten around the 5 of Andy Kurtz. It looks like Kurtz might be coming down onto pit road this time. He's able to get that car slowed down to make his way towards his pit stall. And Matt Kleeman making his way towards his pit stall as well. Kosick makes his way on the pit road, giving the lead over to Jonathan Cofield. Jonah Colbert currently in second, but he is 8.5 seconds behind the 58 of Cofield. Here comes Eddie Smith and Garrett Kinder. Get themselves back on the lead lap, and they are battling for position as they're able to get around Jonathan Cofield. Cofield, though, makes his way down on the pit road. So that'll give the lead over to Jonah Colbert. Looks like he's going to pass by pit road and go at least one more lap, him and Jason Lottridge. When it's all said and done, though, these two right here will be the ones battling for the lead. Kinder continues to kind of draft Eddie here as they go down into turns 3 and 4. And caution is out on the track. looks like it's caution for the 58 of Cofield. Looks like he might have looped it around trying to get off of pit road. Doesn't look like any damage to that 58 machine, and that's going to bring up our first Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind. See that 58 down on the apron trying to get up to speed. Oh, just catches those bumps there coming off of pit road and catches the inside wall. Slides up onto the racing surface. And that is what's going to bring out our caution here tonight. So I didn't think there was any damage to that car, but there is quite a bit of damage to the front of that 58 machine. As everybody's going to make their way down on the pit road. Of course, drivers like Jason Lottridge, Jonah Cobert, they're just coming down to get their normal service, where everyone else, Eddie Smith, Garrett Kinder, coming down to take a splash of fuel to make it to the end. Oh, Garrett Kinder taking tires. Eddie Smith taking tires. I'm sorry, that's Daniel Cunningham. Yeah, Eddie Smith taking tires as well. So Jonah Cobert is going to get down and away. He's going to beat Jason Lottridge and Eddie Smith off of pit road. So the way they came off pit road, Jonah Cobert off first. Eddie Smith comes off pit road in second. Jason Lottridge back in the third position. Daniel Cunningham back in fourth. Garrett Kinder comes off pit road in fifth. Andy Kurtz back in the sixth position. Mike Kosick in seventh. Charles Stevens Jr. comes off pit road in eighth. A lot of damage to the front end of that 88 from when he ran into the back of Brandon Pollock earlier. Tyler Rice on pit road getting service done. So Brandon Wallace getting around. So he's going to restart in the ninth position. And Brandon Pollock currently out in front of the leaders, him and Matt Kleeman. So they're going to get their laps back, put themselves back onto the lead lap. So lights are off on the pace car. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, and get ready to refire them here. Eddie Smith's going to choose that inside lane along with Jonah Cobert. So he's going to move Jason Lottridge up into second. Garrett Kinder up in the fourth, up on the high side. Well, I've got a moment. Don't forget to join us on Sunday night for the truck doubleheader, as the Original Rebels Racing League Outlawed Series and Sunday Night Truck Series will be taking on Homestead Miami for 100 laps as they start their first round of 8 race. Don't forget to hit that little notification bell and like and subscribe so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. But here we go. Pace car down onto pit road. Jonah Colbert going to lead him down to the restart zone. Green flag in the air. We are back racing, and Eddie Smith already under attack from Jason Lottridge up on that high side. But Smith trying to do everything he can to get himself out in front of Lottridge. And here comes Kinder as well, right up the middle. Put himself up into the third position. And Daniel Cunningham up into fourth. So Cunningham, who was a lap down not too long ago, finds himself up here battling for a podium position. With under 50 laps to go. Now the big question is the $1 million question: do these drivers have enough fuel to make it to the end? Now, obviously, Jonah Colbert's going to be pushing the most air and burning the most fuel. So we'll have to see if these drivers start to save a little bit, as Andy Kurtz under attack from Daniel Cunningham, and now Cunningham trying to look down underneath Garrett Kinder to try to take over that third spot. Kosick up on the high side of Cunningham now, and Kosick's going to move into fifth. Brandon Wallace and Jason Lottridge battling side by side, as Wallace is going to move himself up into the eighth position. And Jonathan Cofield on pit road. Not sure what happened to Cofield here. See him way off the pace, and I think he just didn't have enough. After catching the wall, he had too much damage, and that really slowed that car down. We take a look here from Eddie Smith's roof. We see Garrett Kinder getting around Eddie Smith to put him camera got a little jacked up there, so I'm gonna have to spin all the way around. So as I was getting ready to look on the roof there, Garrett Kinder. Apologize, I cannot talk here today. Garrett Kinder gets around Eddie Smith, and here comes Andy Kurtz down around Eddie Smith as well. Mike Kosick in the mix here, trying to get himself another podium here in the Grand National Series. Now Kinder's trying to run down Jonah Colbert and try to steal a win here away from one of the playoff drivers. Now remember, the playoff drivers, those drivers with the blue banners on their name, if they win, they automatically are locked into the next round. But if a driver like Garrett Kinder or Charles Stevens Jr. or another driver who's not in the playoffs steals a win here tonight, that means that nobody automatically advances to the next round. As Kinder gets a big wiggle down through the corner. That allows Eddie Smith to close right in on the back bumper. As Andy Kurtz continues to run that higher lane, trying to keep his momentum up, keep Mike Kosick right behind him. He's able to clear Kosick and solidly keep himself up into the 4th position. As Jonah Cobert has a mirror full of Garrett Kinder. Kinder looking for every possibility to get that nose down underneath the 31 of Jonah Cobert to take over the lead. We're talking about, a little off and on the throttle there for Jonah. Tell me that car is really starting to push already. Front end sliding around a little too much, and you see the momentum that Garrett Kinder gets. As now Eddie Smith taking a look down underneath Garrett Kinder. And now Smith is going to move himself up into the 2nd position. Here comes Andy Kurtz taking a look down underneath Kinder. Try to move Kinder back into 3rd. So Kinder back into the 3rd position, able to fend off the 8 of Mike Kosick. Well, for the back, we see Daniel Cunningham trying to run down Andy Kurtz. Try to move Cunningham up into the top 5. Kinder now has Mike Kosick right there on the back bumper. Kosick wants to get himself up into the top 3, try to maximize points here tonight. Oh, big wiggle out back here. Daniel Cunningham is around on the backstretch. Caution is out. That's going to bring up another Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind. I saw that out of the corner of my eye. We see Andy Kurtz getting really loose there on the high side. Comes down into Daniel Cunningham. Cunningham pointed straight at that inside wall, makes heavy, heavy contact with the inside wall. We ride along with Cunningham here and see exactly what he sees, and just nothing he could do. Just along for the ride. So let's see what everybody does. It looks like everybody's going to come down pit road for 4 fresh tires and fuel. See our top 3 in the running order making their way down to their pit stalls. See who gets off of pit road first. See if anybody gambles with just 2 tires. Looks like everybody taking 4 tires. Jonah Cobert down the way first. Garrett Kinder is going to beat Eddie Smith off. Andy Kurtz comes off in 4th. Charles Stevens Jr. in 5th. Brandon Wallace and Tyler Rice. You see Mike Kosick struggling here. Had a very long pit stop. He was on pit road, or he was stopped for about 10 seconds longer than everybody else. Take a look at the pit times here. Well, we'll have to wait till they come around to cross the stripe here. I take that back. It's not really showing me the pit stop times like it should be, but give you an idea here. Jonah Colbert had a 14.67. Ginder had a 15.22. Eddie Smith 15.63. Kurtz a 14.85. That goes back to Mike Kosick with a 27.08. So stationary on pit road for quite a while. That's going to move Kosick all the way back into the 8th position. But as we look at our playoff picture coming in, Kosick with a pretty hefty lead up front. That 4th position would be your cutoff line, so only 6 points above the cutoff. Trying to do everything he can to move himself into the next round. So we will be coming at pretty soon to 25 laps to go as one car gets the wave around. That is the 58 of Jonathan Cofield, who is quite a few laps down. Trying to salvage every position he can here. 11 points down, 11 positions down. We see Daniel Cunningham is out of the race. So that is one more position that Cofield can get. That 1 point could be everything moving into the final 4. Kevin Kinder says he needed to pee. It's a possibility. We'll have to see how that affects him here, but here we go. Pace car pulls down on the pit road. Jonah Colbert hits the gas. Green flag is in the air. We are back racing as Eddie Smith and Garrett Kinder battle side by side down towards turn number 1. Smith with the advantage on the inside. Here comes Andy Kurtz taking a look as well. As Kinder is going to fall back into the 4th position as Andy Kurtz continues to battle down on that low side. A little bit of wiggle out of the 13 of Garrett Kinder. He's able to hold off Andy Kurtz. And we see Brandon Wallace now up into the 5th position. Taking a look to the low side, trying to get some air on the nose to help that car turn. While up front, Jonah Colbert continues to lead over Eddie Smith and Garrett Kinder. 24 laps to go. Charles Stevens Jr. looking to the high side of Brandon Wallace. Battle for the 5th position. Neither driver in the playoffs, but trying to hold their head up high and have a great finish to the season. Mike Kosick trying to get around Tyler Rice. Still back in the 9th position. He's got Matt Kleeman right there with him as well. Eddie Smith has Garrett Kinder gaining on him now as they go down into turns 3 and 4. Kinder trying to run that white line. Eddie Smith about a half a lane up. Just 22 laps to go. Kinder still right there on the back bumper. Here comes Andy Kurtz taking a look down to the inside of Garrett Kinder, trying to take over that third position. So with Kurtz not being able to make that move, he's going to tuck back in line. And Eddie Smith starting to run down Jonah Colbert just a little bit. Last time by, Smith was about a tenth faster than both Colbert and Kinder. That last lap, Brandon Pollock, take that back, was not the fastest car on the track. It was Eddie Smith. Here comes Kinder down on the low side of Eddie Smith, trying to take over a second again. With just 20 laps to go, coming to 19 to go when they cross the line this time. Kinder, Smith side by side down into turn number 1. Neither driver wanting to give up their spot. Kinder not in the playoffs, Smith is. But Kinder trying to get a win here for bragging rights. Now Andy Kurtz looking up to the high side of Garrett Kinder, trying to move himself up onto the podium. Kinder slides up the track, uses a little side drafting there. But that's going to allow Kurtz to get out into the lead as Eddie Smith now takes a look down to the inside of Jonah Colbert. This is a battle for the lead off of turn number 4. Down through the quad oval. Smith with the position on the low side, but Colbert able to drive off on the high side and keep that position as Andy Kurtz now takes a look up to the high side. And he's trying to move himself up into second, and as they come off of turn number 2, that high side prevails, and that's going to move Andy Kurtz up to the point. Now, can he work his way around the 31 of Jonah Colbert? Kurtz crosses over down to the bottom. Down into turns 1 and 2. Almost cleared Colbert there as he pushes up the track a little bit. These two side by side. Now Kurtz loses his momentum as Eddie Smith is trying to get that position back around on the high side. These three drivers trying to punch their ticket into the round of 4. Garrett Kinder just up here trying to play spoilers. A caution is out. It looks like it's for the 6 of Tyler Rice, who's spinning down the front stretch. That's going to bring up another Kinder Farm and Ranch wreckage rewind. We see Tyler Rice running or battling here with Jason Lottridge. They come down the front stretch, and Lottridge just a little bit lower down on the track than Tyler Rice thought he was going to be. Those two make contact with the outside wall. And Rice slides down onto the apron. So this will give us a restart with about 10 laps to go. We know these tires start to give up after about 10 laps. Does anybody have tires left in the pits? Are these drivers going to come back down at pit road one last time? Jonah Colbert down onto pit road. Eddie Smith, Garrett Kinder stay out. Andy Kurtz stays out. Charles Stevens Jr., Brandon Wallace, Mike Kosick all on pit road as well. Jason Lottridge comes down on pit road. You see a lot of damage to that 48. Again, on This league, they do not have a reset, so that's going to pretty much do it there tonight for Jason Lottridge as well as Tyler Rice. Kevin Kinder says the top lane is where you need to be to pass, and that's what it seems like all night, although we have seen Eddie Smith make a couple passes down on the low side, but you're right, most of the passes tonight have come up on the high side. And see Eddie Smith down on the apron trying to save. Looks like he's trying to save a little bit of fuel, but I'm sure he's got enough to make it to the end. So not just are the original Rebels leagues coming to a close soon, but our Tuesday night truck doubleheader with the SCSRA. SCSRA has just a handful of races left in their season as well. This week, the Truck Series will be heading off to Kansas on Tuesday night with the Xfinity Series going to be running Charlotte. Also on Tuesday night, we have our Doghouse Racing League brought to you by Shoney's. And they'll be live from Darlington starting at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday night. So Darlington and Kansas, two races. They're going to be fantastic to watch. Two tracks that really lend to some great racing. As we see, Jonah Colbert did, in fact, come out on pit road in the 4th position on those fresh tires. So we'll see if that pays off for him as Eddie Smith and Garrett Kinder are going to restart side by side. Of course, don't forget about Thursday nights. We do have our Thunderstruck series as well. So a lot of racing here on Intensity Broadcasting as the seasons do come to a close. And most of the leagues are going to be taking a little break for the holidays. As the field re-racks, restacks, and gets ready to refire. Eddie Smith restarting on the bottom. Garrett Kinder is going to restart on the top. Then Andy Kurtz in 3rd. Jonah Colbert in 4th. Brandon Wallace, Charles Stevens in row number 3. Brandon Pollock, Mike Kosick in row 4. Then Matt Kleeman and Jason Lottridge round out your top 10. Yeah, a lot of damage to that 48 machine, so I don't see him being too much of a factor here, but here we go. Pace car getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn onto pit road. Green flag is back in the air. We are back racing with Eddie Smith getting a great jump on Garrett Kinder. They're about to be 3 wide with Jonah Colbert in the middle on those fresh tires. He easily gets around both Andy Kurtz and Garrett Kinder, and he's going to set his sights on the 87 of Eddie Smith. And look at those fresh tires go as Jonah Colbert immediately gets around Smith, back up to the lead. We have just 9 laps to go. Brandon Wallace on fresh tires, trying to find his way around teammate Garrett Kinder. Wallace down to the bottom. He makes contact. Kinder up into the wall. Charles Stevens Jr. involved as well. Oh, Matt Kleeman hard into the outside wall. Caution back on the track. Brandon Wallace also I'm sorry, Brandon Pollock also caught up in this one. That's going to bring up another Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind. Yeah, it looks like just two drivers going for the same spot here. See Brandon Wallace making the move down to the inside. And on those fresh tires, he's got the position. Looks like Kinder may have came across his nose just a little bit. Charles Stevens Jr. makes contact with Brandon Wallace. He goes up into the outside wall. Comes back down across the street. Mike Kosick gets a piece. Brandon Pollock, a hard piece right there as well. Andy Kurtz does an amazing job. And Mike Kosick caught up in this as well. Looked like Kosick was going to make it through. Yeah, just nowheres to go. Steve McDonald catches a piece of it there at the end. Or not Steve McDonald, I'm sorry. That was Jonathan Cofield catches a little piece of it there at the end. So not really what Jonah Colbert wanted to see. He wanted to see this go green so he could keep the advantage on those fresh tires. Question is Eddie Smith going to come down pit road to get freshies of his own? Of course, Brandon Wallace also on fresh tires. We'll have to see what he's able to do here. Jason Lotridge on fresh tires, but a lot of damage. Same with Charles Stevens Jr., so they're not really going to be able to do much with those cars. So the two drivers I'm most interested to see how this plays out is the 31 of Jonah Colbert, who is currently up into the lead, and Brandon Wallace, who is back in third, also on fresh tires. There goes Eddie Smith. Eddie jumps down on the pit road so he can get some fresh tires of his own. It might be a little, too late. We'll see if he's able to drive his way back up to the front. So this time by, we'll see the lights on the pace car come off. And we'll have just 4 laps to go when they take the green flag. Here we go. Lights are off on the pace car. Jonah Colbert down on the bottom. Brandon Wallace up on the high side. Andy Kurtz, Garrett Kinder. Kinder doesn't look like he's got too much damage on that 13 machine, he still might be competitive. We know Brandon Wallace not in the playoffs, but trying to steal a win here as the pace car pulls down on the pit road. Jonah Colbert hits the gas, and we are back green flag racing. Andy Kurtz down on the low side. He's not on fresh tires. Brandon Wallace is, though. And here comes Kinder back down to the inside of Wallace, but he's going to tuck back in line. And now Wallace going to look down to the low side. And he's going to take over that second position from Andy Kurtz as we have just 3 laps to go. As they run side by side, it's allowing Jonah Colbert just to pull away from Brandon Wallace and Andy Kurtz. And Garrett Kinder just got passed by Eddie Smith. Now Eddie is on fresh tires. Does he have enough time to drive back up to the front? As Brandon Wallace is starting to pull away from Andy Kurtz now. Jonah Colbert coming across the line for just 2 laps to go. Colbert also coming up on the lap car. Believe that's Jonathan Cofield. Going to stay down and off the racing surface. Brandon Wallace now a half second back off your leader as Jonah Colbert's going to come off at turn number 4 to take the white flag here at Atlanta. Yellow flag put away. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go here in the Grand National Series. Jonah Colbert just needs 4 perfect corners. Off of turn number 2, Brandon Wallace, though, gaining on Jonah Colbert as they go down into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Brandon Wallace is going to make a hard charge here at the end, but Jonah Colbert's going to come across the line, and he is going to win it here at Atlanta. Brandon Wallace comes home second. Andy Kurtz going to come home third. Eddie Smith and Garrett Kinder round out your top 5, but Jonah Colbert gets the win here tonight and locks himself into the championship 4 with his win. And that is a huge relief off his chest as he will not have to worry about the next 2 races. So he comes down onto pit road here. Trying to get away from Garrett Kinder so he can go and celebrate. And celebrates by running the Legends Oval. That's what I'd like to see. We should have a race with these guys here at the Legends Oval in these Grand National cars. That would be a wild race to see how flat this track, that Legends Oval, is without any banking. As Colbert's able to get about 3 laps in before the Rebels Demolition Derby takes place. Kevin Kinder in the chat says congratulations to Colbert. Let's take a look at the final results. And Jonah Colbert gets the win over Brandon Wallace, Andy Kurtz, Eddie Smith, and Garrett Kinder. Charles Stevens Jr. comes in 6th, Matt Kleeman in 7th, Jason Lottridge back in 8th, Mike Kosick 9th, and Brendan Pollock rebounds for a 10th place finish. Tyler Rice comes home in 11th, Jonathan Cofield back in 12th, Daniel Cunningham 13th, Kyle Roberts 14th, Steve McDonald and Mickey Isaac round out your top 16. So a couple of the playoff drivers, Daniel Cunningham, Jonathan Cofield, Brandon Pollock having some issues in the race and having some tough luck that's going to set them back for the next couple rounds. We'll have to see if they're able to rebound in the next couple races. But let's get our podium in here tonight, starting with our third place finisher, Andy Kurtz. Andy, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey Josh, how you doing?
Good, man. Hey, tough break for you. Those new tires really paying dividends for Brandon Wallace and Jonah Colbert. But I know a third place finish in the first round is nothing to sneeze at. A good points night for you here tonight. Talk us through your race. I know there was a lot of cautions here tonight. That kind of threw a monkey wrench in a lot of people's strategy.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely happy with third place. Congrats to Jonah. Uh, Good win there, and Brandon for a awesome, second place finish. I feel like I finished probably where I should have anyway, so kind of got lucky there. Eddie and Kinder were really fast, so I don't think I had much for them, especially at the end of the run. But it was it was fun. It was interesting. It was typical Atlanta, just wearing out your tires. Not a lot of grip, but the cars were really still really drafty and really aero sensitive, and I was having a heck of a time trying to pass people on the bottom. So it felt like even though you wanted to run down there, you had to keep the momentum up high. So I was just trying to figure things out as we went, and was happy to see a green flag stop there at the beginning. Um, Definitely made a difference if you waited out, even a lap compared to other people. Definitely shook some things up there. Then yeah, just a bunch of cautions at the end, which shook things up again, but made for a good finish.
For sure. And were you kind of surprised to see Jonah and some of those boys pitting there on that yellow there with about 15 to go?
Oh, I definitely was. I couldn't believe. I mean, I definitely obviously knew what they were doing, but I didn't realize that there were people out there that still had an extra set. So I don't know if when the caution fell during green flag stops, I don't know if they stayed out and didn't pit yet, or how that all kind of worked out that they had an extra set because um, when I don't know what to do. I just go off of guys like Eddie or Kinder, and I was pitting with them, and I saw his three stay out, and everyone else pit. So especially a track like this, I kind of knew we'd be in trouble. But it's funny. It's how it works out. So it's all good.
Well, a great run, like you said, a third place finish, kind of great points night for as we started the round of 8 here tonight. Before I let you go, Andy, anyone you want to thank, any shots you got to give here tonight?
Hey man. Well, yeah. I mean, it's good. It's good to be back. We were off. I think all the series are off for a week, so it's good to be back racing. Um, yeah, I want to thank you for a great broadcast as always. I'm excited to watch this one. Atlanta is one of my, especially old Atlanta, it's one of my favorite tracks. I want to thank you. I want to thank all the admins. I want to thank Jonah and Daniel for helping us with everything. Be able to race every week here. Uh, Kinder Farm and Ranch, Cofield Asphalt Refinishing, Dark Horse Motorsports, Big Leg Felts, JC Race Graphics, you guys again, and Rebels Racing Network.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats, and we look forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out for you.
Thanks, man.
Have a great night.
All right.
So that was your third place finisher, Andy Kurtz. Let's bring in your second place finisher, Brandon Wallace. Brandon, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. Got you.
Man, you go from the queen last week to the bridesmaid this week. Just not enough time to run Colbert down there at the end. But great job and great strategy taking those tires there at the end. Were you trying to save a set just in case you had an opportunity to come down pit road and take those tires like you had there tonight?
Yeah, I kind of figured it might play a little sort of like that, would tend to go or something. We were going to need a set. And Kinder and Eddie and Kurtz and those guys had used their set. So I knew we were sitting pretty. But I mean, Jonah had a set too. So I wasn't going to catch him.
Well, great strategy there. And with kind of a race of attrition tonight, a lot more cautions than we were really expecting to have here tonight. Did that kind of throw a little kink in the strategy here tonight for you, or did it kind of play right where you wanted to?
It probably actually helped. I mean, we had enough fuel that we could one stop it, but the tires, I just killed them. That first run I was down to like 14% after 50 laps, so it was so tight it was hard to turn.
Well, great job coming home runner up here tonight. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank? Any shout outs you got to give here tonight?
Of course, you guys at Intensity for doing such a great job. Kinder Farm and Ranch, he kind of threw a late block there at me, and I kind of touched him and spun him, or he kind of spun and got loose, and so we kind of made a melee out of the field, but it was not intentional on our part. And of course, all the Reaper teammates and all the affiliates, and appreciate everything you guys do.
Awesome, man. And no hard feelings. I was just saying what I had to say last week as I was given the script. So,
Man, I know. That's last week, brother. I forgot it already.
well, awesome job here tonight. And we look forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out for you.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks,
Have a
Josh.
great night. So that was your second place finisher, Brandon Wallace. Let's bring in your winner tonight, Jonah Colbert. Jonah, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Josh.
Man, you must have had people's eyes lighting up when you went down pit road there with about 15 laps to go, and it worked out for you perfectly, getting yourself the win and punching your ticket to the Final Four. Gutsy calling with the tire situation out there. Tires really falling off. How were you able to save a set, and were you kind of banking on that last caution like it came out for you?
I wasn't banking on the last caution. And the way I saved the set, though, was early in the race. You could make it to like 60 laps or something, but a bunch of people started pitting at like 42, 45, something like that. And I was like, well, I'm already 8 seconds behind, so there's no way I can undercut them. And pitting with them ain't going to help me at all. So I decided to stay out and just hope for a caution. And lo and behold, caution came out after they had run about 10, 12 laps on their tires or something. So, I mean, it was literally just luck is all it was. It was luck. I got a perfect timed caution, came in, took my first set. And, of course, they had put enough wear on theirs. They had to come take a second set. Otherwise, they would have got run out of town. And that put everybody else behind the 8 ball and allowed me to just hold on to that final set in case a caution came out. And when I got the lead, it was just clean air, man. That's all it was. It wasn't, I mean, it was so hard to pass because if someone got below you, you could just get up on their quarter panel and side draft them, and they would get tied off the corner. So I just played that to my advantage once I got clean air and just held on to it. And then the caution came out and got a final set and ran away. So just a little bit of luck, man.
Man, that locks you into that championship 4. That's got to feel pretty good, having the stress of needing anything to make it into that Final Four. Kind of take it easy for the next 2 races.
Yeah, pretty relieved. This night started kind of crappy. Couldn't figure out what I was doing. It was tight everywhere. I mean, I ran the high line the first run and burned my stuff up. And I don't know. I was lost in practice. I was lost on the first run, and then hell, if I didn't come out of here with a win. Like I said, sometimes it's better be lucky than good. So cautions bounce your way, and you can pull one out. So I'll take it.
Well, a fantastic run here tonight. We look forward to seeing what you can do the rest of the season. Good luck the rest of the way out. But before we let you go, anyone want to thank any shots you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, shout out to Intensive Broadcasting for putting this on, and can't wait to go back and watch the stream now that you said you got it up to 1080. That should be a good-looking stream. Shout out to JC Motorsports, Eddie Smith, Daniel Cunningham, and of course Garrett Kinder, Brandon Wallace, those guys for hanging out with us. That's always fun running with them. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, again, congrats, and we look forward to seeing what the rest of the season plays out for you.
All right, thanks, Josh.
So that was your winner there, Jonah Colbert, here tonight. Let's take a look at our Cofield refinishing Tough Luck Award here tonight, and that's going to go to Jonathan Cofield himself, who was out front and leading when he caught the bump just wrong, got out of shape, and ended up destroying his race car and finishing back in the 12th position. So a tough break for Jonathan, but that is your Cofield Refinishing Tough Luck Award here tonight. Of course, we want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. Do appreciate you tuning in each and every week with us. Again, congratulations to Jonah Colbert. Don't forget to join us on Sunday night for the Original Rebels Racing League Truck Series doubleheader from Homestead, Miami, for their first race of the round of 8. So not going to want to miss that one. Tune in here, hit that little notification bell so you know when we go live. We'll be going live about 7:50 Eastern on Sunday night. Of course, thanks again to everybody that makes this league possible. We want to thank all of our great partners such as Race EPI and the Butt Kicker. And of course, everybody for watching. And as our boy Atlee Atman Weiss would say,